Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? This is Amanda. Today is the 4th of June 2023 when I make this video. This is a third video in a series that I'm doing called A Spotlight On, and it just so happens that the first few videos that I'm doing are linked into contenders for the presidency of the United States. We will move on to look at people that are not just political figures in this series as well. But whilst I'm in the flow of this particular sector, I guess, of our world, I want to push on and I want to look at Ron DeSantis in this video. The other two videos that I've done are RFK Jr. and Marianne Williamson, both of which you can find in a playlist, which I will link below. Before we get going, before we say anything, I'm just being given a little technique for us to do before I say any more. And I would just ask us, please, to connect to our feet on the earth, connect into our heart energy, connect into the skies above and Great Spirit, God, whatever you wish to call it, universal consciousness from which we all come. And I'd like us to remember that we are all each other's brothers and sisters, whatever our differences are with regards to politics, religion, or anything else. And reading on somebody like Ron, who I know is controversial, people seem to either love him or hate him. There doesn't seem to be much in the middle. Can I just ask us to remember that when we hate on anybody, try to see them as representative of others in society that we just don't necessarily maybe understand. And this applies to all of the political candidates that I touch on in this series. That when we're looking at Ron or Marianne or RFK or Joe or Donald or any of the others that I might cover, it's as though we are inviting in the people also that support these people. So if we can start to understand where each other are coming from more, we will start to be able to inch forward in our world. So an attack on Ron or any of the others is really an attack on your neighbour who may happen to vote differently from you. And I think if we can just remember that, we can calm down some of the rhetoric that's out there. And Archangel Metatron, my guide, is also saying, for the purposes of this video, for the next hour or so, however long we're in each other's company, can we just close off the newspapers, the mainstream media articles we might have read on any of these candidates? And the Spotlight series is intended to help us see beyond what we have been told, to look at the actual soul signature of any particular individual, what their soul contract is that they've come in with, what they're here to do, how well they might be doing it. We can look at the positives, the negatives, but anything that comes up. I have no agenda with regards to doing these videos. I don't even have a vote. It's not my country. I'm just genuinely interested in the main players on the stage because, as I say, they all represent, to a degree, a part of us. Okay, with that being said, shall we get into Ron? Okay, so Ron DeSantis. I'm going to start off, as I have done on the other Spotlight videos, looking at his colour numerology, a little bit about his date of birth, a little bit about his name, which I didn't do for the other two, but as this series builds, I'm going to try and improve each video, and I'll add bits that might be particularly interesting. It just helps me to get into their energy by doing this introduction, and also it's very revealing. So Ron DeSantis, actually would like to start with his name. His full name is Ronald Dion DeSantis. Now, I have seen, unfortunately, some of my fellow readers on YouTube, not that I just class myself as a reader really, but people that just read and do tarot readings who don't like Ron, calling him DeSatan, which I think is completely juvenile, to be perfectly honest, but I'll try and suspend that judgment, cancel, clear, delete. I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you, thank you. But, you know, I do struggle with people when they behave like that. But it's interesting because his name, DeSantis, which people are flipping in duality to be what they want it to be, actually means, from the Latin, it means holy or devout. And his name, Dion, means child of heaven and earth. So it's actually his name signature. And remember, names, just as much as our astrology or our numerology, say something about our soul signature, what we came in with. Now, whether we live up to that or not is a different matter, but it's what we came in with. So yeah, he was born Ronald Dion DeSantis. So Dion, child of earth, child of heaven and earth, and DeSantis, holy and devout. He is 44, I believe, at the moment, which puts him nearly half the age of some of his other people that he's going up against. So this guy's got time, actually, and I will just show one card that keeps coming out for him. I've only pulled one card so far, but this kept coming out, and it says positive movement forward. It's number 8. And, you know, this is pretty symbolic, I think, because with his age, 44, he's still got time, is what I'm hearing. And it may well be that whatever happens in this particular run, that he will come back and try again. So, because he just has this energy of just, I'm going to keep moving forward. Very much, I'm setting my own course. And he knows what he's doing, and he knows where he's going, and he knows what he's aiming for. And he's always been a bit like that, actually, in his life. We'll look at a little bit about who he's been in some of the central pillars in a moment. But it's always seems to be he's been a man on a mission, a man who knows his own mind and who's gone into some strongholds, is what I'm hearing, whether it be the Navy, whether it be the legal profession, whether it now be politics. But anyway, back to his astrology and numerology. So he's born the 14th of September 1978, which quite surprised me because he's a Virgo, and I thought he would be, I don't know, I was expecting him to be something like a Leo. This is before I actually went in and looked at it. But no, he's a Virgo. He has the moon in Aquarius, which I also share, actually. A moon in Aquarius can be quite ruthless sometimes. We're very good at being able to compartmentalize things analytically, and also very good at walking away from situations when it no longer serves us. On the outside, it can appear to be quite cold sometimes, but it's not. But it is just what it is. It's moon in Aquarius. Anyone that's got it knows exactly what I'm talking about. Right, let's look at his numbers. Number 14 we pull out in terms of numerology. We also then add up all the digits of his date of birth, month of birth, and year of birth, and he comes out to be a 39, 12, 3 energy. So let's talk about these 4 numbers. Number 14, his day of birth, is linked into the colour turquoise. It's linked into the Aquarian age, actually. And whether you like this guy, whether you don't like this guy, I'm on record numerous times in terms of saying we need all players on the pitch to get to where we need to be. We need the people that we love and that we cheer on. We also need the people that sometimes rub us up the wrong way. So whatever side of that camp you're on, whether you love him, you hate him, he's here for a reason. He's meant to be one of the players on the pitch to get us towards the Aquarian age. Very, also quite astute with regards to technology. Well, I don't know whether he is, because I'm also hearing he can be a bit of a Luddite. But, you know, the 14 energy is where he needs to be, where he needs to get to. It's one of the things he needs to learn in this brave new world that we're in now, getting to grips with technology. I keep seeing him with Elon Musk, and I don't know if it's necessarily that Elon has endorsed him or anything like that, but it's more that I feel as though if I was Ron, I would be saying reach out to Elon to see what they can do for each other. I do know, for example, that Elon Musk has handed out a branch to RFK Jr. in the last couple of days, who, I didn't realise this, but he's actually, I think, still blacklisted off Instagram. I don't think he's allowed to be on Instagram. And I think as a consequence of being blacklisted on other social media, Elon has basically said to RFK, you can come and do is it a Spaces? I'm not really on Twitter much. So a Spaces session with me, basically giving him a spotlight in the same way I'm doing for Ron now. So yeah, I would say to Ron, network with Elon as much as you can. And indeed, the turquoise vibration, the 14 vibration, is all about networking. He's a good networker, this guy. He's got people in his back pocket, and I don't mean that in terms of money. I just mean that in terms of whoever he meets in his life, and this can go back many, many years, he clocks who can be useful to him in the future. Now, to a degree, we all do that, but Ron is very focused, and it's almost as though I'm seeing, I don't know whether this is literal, it's almost like he's got a little black book where he's got the names of everybody that potentially could help him in the future. He's also, I'm being shown, he's very good at striking off names in his little black book. Whether it exists or not, I don't know. That's the moon in Aquarius trait. That's, if you cross us once, that's it. You're out of the picture. We're not going to trust you again. That's the ruthless energy of moon in Aquarius. So yeah, a good networker. So reach out to the networks. And I'm realizing as I'm saying reach out to the networks, that also is bringing up an energy of the TV networks. Now, I don't know what his relationship is like with the TV networks, whether they love him or not, but I just feel as though he needs to be capitalizing on that a little bit more. He needs to get his face out there more so that people can actually see who he really is, not necessarily what the smokescreen is that other parts of the media might have made him out to be. Now, from my own perspective, I'm in a different country to the USA. I'm in UK. We know the name Ron DeSantis, and I'm sure you've all heard of Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan did quite a long interview with Ron DeSantis a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I did watch part of that, and I was really pleasantly surprised because I thought he came across very well. Take the politics out of it for one moment. He just came across well, I thought. I sort of liked him. I thought it was the type of guy I would sit down and definitely have a beer with him. My husband tells me Ron likes Guinness. So if you like Guinness, you can't all be all bad, basically, okay? But in all seriousness, if you haven't watched that Piers Morgan interview and you're on the fence with regards to Ron, doesn't mean you have to vote for him, just if you're interested in who he is and what his psyche is. I would definitely watch that Piers Morgan interview. I thought he came across well, and it wasn't necessarily an easy interview. He was challenged on various things, and he stood his ground. So that's all to do with networking, TV. I'm not being rude here, and I actually think I said very similar thing when I first looked at Ron for literally 5-10 minutes in some other video recently. I can't even remember which one it was, but I said something about his face, and I'm not being rude here, but I said this. I'm going to say it in a more polite way than maybe I said it before. I don't think he photographs particularly well. Okay, don't think he photographs particularly well. And in an age which is all about appearance and what we look like, whether we like that or not, that sort of matters. So I'm not really sure what he can do about that, although I feel his wife's energy behind him very strongly. And I feel that she has a say in actually what he wears to a degree, although he does wear the trousers in his own home. He's quite when I say an old-fashioned man in that respect, I don't mean that in a negative way either. I just mean he's a man in his home, and there's nothing wrong with that. Traditional, he's quite traditional. But I do think because she loves him and she's proud of him, it's just this thing about the wife wanting to make her husband look as good as he possibly can. So that's what I'm picking up. But yeah, I don't think he photographs particularly well. I think in person, he comes across better. I think if you met him in the street, he would come across better. visually and also in terms of maybe what he says. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding with regards to Ron, because to be honest, anybody that polarizes opinion to the degree that he does, and if I've turned off comments on this video, apologies, but I'm not going to be anybody's whipping boy for looking at this subject. Anybody that polarizes opinion like this, usually the truth is somewhere in the middle, okay? So that's what you would find if you actually were with him in a room and were sitting face to face with him. I think you might be surprised that you like him more than you realise. I realise some people watching this love him already. I'm talking to the detractors, really. Okay, let's get back to the numerology. So we've talked about 14. The next number is 39. Now this is quite interesting because it links to a chakra in the body. It links to the solar plexus. And this is really where it's all at for him. He, again, not wishing to be crude, there are other men in the past who have been ruled more by their nether regions. Okay, sexuality and all that. I'm sure Ron is sexual, but it's more just that that's not really what makes him tick. He is quite power hungry. It's all to do with the solar plexus with him. He's quite power hungry. I'm seeing in my mind's eye now, I can't even remember what they're called. I'm going to age myself. Pac-Man? Do you remember Pac-Man from the 1970s? The first ever video game that I think came out. And Pac-Man was just like this, wasn't he like a big face? And he gobbled up. He like gobbled things up and you had to... That's what I'm seeing in my mind's eye, Pac-Man. He's a bit like that. He's hungry for power. He is hungry for power, this guy. And he's not going to let too much stop him. He is not at all bothered by his detractors. If anything, he thrives off it. If anything, it's quite interesting. From a spiritual perspective, I don't think he consciously realises he's doing this. But spiritually, this is what's happening. If you can turn your hater's energy into fuel, if you can transmute it, and because all energy can be transmuted, it's almost as though he takes anything. It's the energy of any publicity is good publicity, and he thrives off it. So the more that people criticise him, slam him, deride him, misunderstand him, he's just like this energy where I'm just going to keep sailing through it. I'm just going to keep going because I know where I'm heading for and I know what I'm doing. He's got a very clear vision of where he wants to take America, and we'll come to that in a moment. But definitely solar plexus energy. He lives in the Sunshine State as well. Isn't that what you call Florida? So yeah, sunshine, solar plexus. He tries to always be a glass half full type character. He might tend towards a bit of pessimism, but he would never show it. He's generally quite bubbly. He's also very much who you see is who you get. There's no bullshit with Ron. It's just like who he is what you see. And I personally think that's quite refreshing. So when he's in his full power, solar plexus, it's almost as though nothing can stop him. But is he in his full power yet? Is this his moment, is the question. Is this the moment for him, or is it in the future? Because again, like I've said for a few of the other candidates, well, all of them so far, RFK and Marianne, I don't feel any of them are really going away anytime soon, whatever happens next year. Okay, so we've said 39, and obviously it's bright yellow. It can also be, yeah, there is some fear, there is some anxiety there, but it's all beneath the surface. You're never going to see it. Right, the next number we're going to pick out is his life path number. I did just go and get myself a cup of coffee. I felt I needed a second cup of coffee to do this video. Yeah, he's a life path number 3. And this is a number that is ruled by the planet Jupiter. Jupiter is big, it's bold, it's a bit like Ron, big, bold, I would also say a little bit brash, and it's very, very expanded, and it just keeps on expanding, and that's his issue. And I've said this before in other videos, he doesn't know when to let go. He's a bit like the Rottweiler that just when he gets his teeth into something, That's it. He's going to hang on till for dear life, whether it be his fight with Disney or anything else. So the other thing is that it's linked into a colour which is coral. And one of the things is that can be it's actually somebody that is more sensitive than they let on. You know, I've said he just gets up, brushes himself down and gets on with it. That is who he is. But there is a side to him. I think it's more maybe linked into why he started on this path maybe in the first place. It feels as though he's got something to prove. And it comes from a place of feeling a little bit unworthy. And this is a weird thing to say, but I keep picking up his height. And I have actually just looked up his height because I felt as though it's almost like a bit of like a small man syndrome. But he's not actually a small man. I mean, it's a bit unclear actually when you look up his height. People are saying different things, but I don't think he is small. Some people are saying he's over 6 foot or between 5'9" and over 6 foot, so goodness knows. But whatever his height is, I just want to express it that he's got a bit of a small man syndrome in terms of something to prove. That's what it feels like. It's just like I've got something to prove. And it feels like it goes back to childhood, to be honest. Whether he's got something to prove in his subconscious mind to his father, his mother, I'm not quite sure. Let me just get his photograph up so I can have a look at it. This is the photograph that I've got of him. Something with his mother. I'm not sure what that is, but just picking up something with his mother. Whether he was close to his mother, whether his mother's still alive, I don't know. Whether he's trying to prove something for his mum. It's almost as though, I mean, he's American, isn't he? But this is like a Latin American thing or an Italian thing. Is he? That's the energy I've got here. You know the big Italian family, and the mama, the big mama is like the goddess of her home, and the sons are very, very respectful of the mother. That's sort of the energy I've got with him here. But anyway, that's not really linked into his numerology. I was just picking that up. Okay, anything else I want to say before I move on and do some cards with him? Did I say that this is his 44th year? I think he's 45 this September. And that's quite interesting in its own sense because 44 is a master number. It's linked into angelic energy. I'm sort of tempted to see what guides he's got around him. It is quite interesting because when I came to set this up today and I was choosing some cards and some of my sprays and crystals, his energy is very much sort of like, I don't want that, I don't want that. He's not really, I don't know, I don't think he's really into all of this stuff. And it was like, he was just like, keep it simple, just keep it simple, just go for a simple deck. Definitely not the unicorns or the any of that nonsense. But I respect that. I do respect that. So yeah, he's in some ways he's quite a simple man. And again, I'm not meaning that to be rude. There's nothing wrong with that. It's almost like bring it back to basics type energy. Bring it back to basics. Let's keep it simple. Especially in a world which has just become so confusing for so many people. Okay, so right, that's the numerology done. Let us now do some cards and see what we get. And also I'll see if I can pick up his guides as well. But yeah, in case you don't know, I'm sure you do if you've been watching this far, but he is the 46th governor of Florida. Many people there love him and some don't, but he seems to have got a lot of love in his home state, as it were. He was a Navy SEAL, so he served in the military. He's also served at Guantanamo Bay. He was a junior officer there, so he wasn't in charge of any of the decisions, but he did serve there as part of his military career. He's a lawyer. In terms of overseas audiences, two of the things I suppose that we've sort of heard is linked into his stance he took during the pandemic, where Florida appeared to be much freer than other parts of the US, especially with regards to stay-at-home orders, lockdown, mask wearing, No mandatory vaccinations, I don't believe. I might be wrong there. But definitely a more relaxed attitude to it. He speaks about that on the Piers Morgan interview as well, if you want to have a look at that. And there's this thing called I don't think it is called the Don't Say Gay Bill, but I think that's what it's sort of known as. From what I can understand, it appears that he has introduced regulations into the educational system so that you can't bring gender and sexuality, what he would call indoctrination, into the mainstream curriculum there. And I mean, I've looked at the trans movement. I did a video on it a few back, got a lot of flack for it as well. I'm not even going to go into it all now, but I've looked at both sides. But the one thing I do remember came out of that video was Spirit saying compromise is needed. Compromise is needed. And I feel where he's coming from is, I just keep getting the energy of he's trying to pull back the tide a little bit because he feels as though it's gone too far. Some of the books that are in school are inappropriate or for a particular age of child. Do children... It's interesting, isn't it? He's also taken on Disney, who historically, of course, were the epitome of childhood innocence, although we know now there is a darker side to Disney. And I'm not talking in terms of trans rights or anything like that. I'm talking about corruption within the organisation, and I may very well look at that one day in a separate video. What appears to be very sugary and sweet, beneath the surface there's, and has been for many decades, some darkness there that will at some point be exposed. So there's this thing about childhood with him and preserving childhood, preserving innocence to a degree. And but he's obviously got into a lot of trouble for that. And he's very much riding the anti-woke wave as well. And again, I'm just picking up that it's at a soul level with all players needed on the pitch. Somebody had to be the one who said, actually, has it gone too far? Do we need to claw it back now? Now, he might be a bit like a bull in a china shop and a little bit crude in terms of some of the methods by which he does that, or his language. But where he's coming from is trying to balance it out. And he's a Virgo, isn't he? So Virgos are very much about that as well. And of course, lawyers, it's all about balance. So I did see the jacket his wife wore, I think it was yesterday, with some sort of anti-woke sentiment on the back. That's what I mean. It's a little bit brash, a little bit crude, really, but I guess it gets its message across, doesn't it? Right, let's pull some cards for him. I'm just wondering where to start. Let's start with this deck. He wanted this deck. It's the Wild Unknown Tarot, because in a way, that is a bit who he is. He's a bit of the wild unknown. He's a bit of the loose cowboy, you know, who's just going to do it his way. And he doesn't take any prisoners to get to where he believes he needs to be. Let's see. Let's pull just some general cards for his energy. Show me the energy, please, of Ron. Ron DeSantis. Show me the overall general energy, please. We have the Sun of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles. Let's have two more cards, please. Overall energy of Ron. We have the Hermit. One more card, please, Ron. We have the Mother of Pentacles. Yeah, he's doing this for his, in a weird way, all of this is for his mum. I mean, that's putting it in a bit of a brash way, but there's definitely something here about the home he came from, wanting to prove himself. I'm picking up a child. I feel this Hermit is him as a child, as though he didn't really come out of himself till his later years, whether that be his later teens. There is this quieter side. I mean, he's a Virgo. Virgo men generally can be quite quiet. That's why I was quite surprised he was a Virgo. It's like, really? This is definitely linked into that. This is childhood. And, you know, because this could also be, I know it's meant to be a tortoise, but this could be a turtle. The turtle carries its home on its back. In his home, this is him as a child, I feel, hiding underneath the bed, needing the nightlight on, needing the mother. Nothing wrong with that. His childhood, there's definitely something there with his childhood. Could even be that something scared him in childhood. And maybe this is part of his whole campaign now to protect the innocence of children. Maybe he saw something he shouldn't have seen, or was witness to something he shouldn't have seen. Can you see that? That little creature, it just feels like it's a little boy that's hiding underneath the bed with the nightlight on. Really picking that up. The Mother of Pentacles and the Sun. We've got the High Priestess as well on the bottom of the deck. It definitely feels as though there's something hidden within his upbringing and his childhood. And to be honest, as a reader, I feel as though I want to step back from it, because it feels, even though he's a public figure, and I'm reading this because he is a public figure and so he's open to scrutiny, I also have an ethical framework with which I do my work. And I just feel this, I'm wading into something here that's very private. And maybe it's not for public consumption. But I think I've been led to it to help you see where he might be coming from. It's almost as though this Don't Say Gay bill, this fight to keep children as innocent as possible for as long as possible, so they don't have to think about grown-up things such as sexuality, because to be perfectly honest, most 5-year-olds aren't thinking that. They certainly weren't when I was a 5-year-old. We were thinking about other stuff, and it wasn't that. I think it comes from the boy he was. I think he saw something. I think he saw something. Daughter of Swords. The owl. The owl sees something at night. But whatever this is, it's guarded. Maybe he's already talked about it. I know he's written a book. Maybe he has. I haven't read his book. I've only ever seen one interview with him. Maybe he's talked about this. I don't know. I don't want to go any further with that. So I'm just going to put that to one side, because I didn't intend to read on that. Let's just have a look now at let's get back to politics. Let's get back to his campaign. Let's stick with this deck. Okay. I hear the sound of children outside my window. You see, that's what he's about. He's about children just playing in the street, innocently, you know, with, I don't know, what, a pram or a bike or something like that. Can you hear the child singing? What's that? The Three of Cups. That's what he wants us to get back to, a more innocent time for our children. He's like the dad that wants to make it safe for the kids to be able to play in their own street again without the fear of what might happen. I'm a child of I was born 67, but, you know, grew up in the 70s really. And we used to go and play down the street. My mum didn't know where we were. We went into other streets. We were climbing trees. We were just doing the stuff that kids used to do. I remember climbing trees, believe it or not, and scootering around on my little scooter and my bike and making dens. That's what he's all about. He wants to get back to that. The question is, can we? We've got the Fool on the bottom of the deck as well. He wants a fresh start for the children. You might not agree with how he's doing it, but I feel as though he has the children's best interests at heart in his vision of the world and how he sees it. Definitely, definitely, definitely. Look at the Fool in this deck. It's a tiny little chick. It's a tiny little chick that's just left its nest. And it's like, is it safe to take a step away from the home, from the mother? And at the moment, the world out there is so threatening and dark and confusing. He's trying to bring it back to a more innocent time. He might not be going about it the right way, but that's what his intentions are. Okay. Let's see how he's doing with regards to his campaign. So he's obviously behind Trump at the moment. I don't feel as though he's too bothered by that. Because as I say, this guy's 44. How old is Trump? He's certainly in his 70s, isn't he? Biden's in his 80s. This guy's got time. But, so he knows he's coming from behind. Let's see how his campaign is doing. Show me the energy of Ron and his campaign at the moment. 2 cards, please. Show me the... Okay, we've got a few different cards there. What have we got? We've got the Sun and the Mother of Swords. And we've got the 4 of Swords. Let me try and work out what that is saying. Well, the first thing I want to say is the sun is shining on his campaign. It's going to be more and more in the spotlight. It's illuminating who he is, what he stands for. People either like that or don't. I think he's a little bit tired. Give me clarification on the 4 of Swords. He's a bit tired of the flack that he's getting, I think. But it's not going to stop him. 4 of Swords, clarification, the 10 of Swords. He's having a bit of a moment of so many women around him, but I don't mean in a sexual way. He's just got a lot of female influence around him. Mother of Cups and Mother of Swords. I mean, one is his wife. I just want to have a look at his mum. Is his mother still alive? Because keep picking up his mother. Note to self, Sundays are not a good day to record. This is about an hour and a half later. But anyway, I'm determined to get this video finished today because I've got a lot on next week. So let's finish this video off. I just left you asking the question, is his mother still alive? I'm assuming so. There's very little that seems to be out there about her. So I don't know. I'm drawing a blank on anything there. But I'm still standing by the fact that I feel as though he is doing this for his mum to prove to himself. Also for his family name as well, I hear. I have read in the break that he is of Italian descent, so I was right there. But anyway, let's now start afresh. And I was talking about the female energy that was around him. Yes, his mother, alive or dead. Yes, his wife. I also feel as though he can capture the female vote. I feel as though a lot of women like him. And I think it's linked into standing up for what they see as family values. There's definitely an energy of standing up for traditional family values with him. But definitely at the moment, he's feeling a little bit under the weather. He might be actually under the weather. Maybe, I'm recording this on this particular day. He might be coming down with a cold. I've no idea. But 10 of Swords and the 4 of Swords is a heavy energy. I'm not particularly worried about it. I just feel as though he's feeling a bit flat today as I read him. But I'm sure he'll soon dust himself off. Let's just pull what comes after that 10 of Swords energy, because it feels as though it's transient. It's interesting as well that it's not a very pleasant card to look at, so apologies. But I do choose decks for a reason, or I'm guided to choose decks for a reason. And this one has got a bull and it's got spears going through it. And he is a bit like the bull in the china shop. I've said that before in this video. He will get back up and dust himself back off. He always does. The other thing that I've really strongly been feeling with his energy the last few days as I've been tuning in is he's a bit like, he's got an energy of the boxer. I keep seeing somebody like Rocky in my mind's eye. I'm sure this is just an analogy. Sylvester Stallone as Rocky, you know, it's, and I can't even remember what the story of Rocky was, but definitely he's got the energy of like a street fighter. He's a bit like a boxer, and he's quite streetwise as well. But yeah, so that bull feels as though it's him. Let me just see, because it feels as though it's transient energy, that Ten of Swords. I definitely don't think it's all over for him right yet anyway. Give me clarification on that Ten of Swords, please. Just feels as though there's a lot of mental burden at the moment for whatever reason. He's getting attacked from all sides. Clarification on that Ten of Swords for Ron. We've got the Daughter of Pentacles. We've also got the Moon. Women are definitely his maybe unseen assets. He's got daughters, I think. So he's got his daughters. He's got the energy of his wife. He's got his mum's spirit. He's surrounded by very strong female energy, none of which is what I would call meek and mild. Strong females around him. And I'm surprised we haven't got an energy of a lioness here as well, because that's what I'm feeling. It's like the lioness that will protect her cub, and he's a bit like the cub in the middle. So even the daughter, very alert to what's going on with the father. Okay, let's now pull some cards with regards to his chances. And I will also ask the deck how he feels about Biden, which I've done for every candidate so far. So let's firstly have a look at his chances of gaining the nomination. As I say, at the moment, a bit of an uphill fight to get that off Trump, but that's what he wants, definitely. So he's in it to win it, as they say. He's in it to win it. So can Ron win the Republican nomination this time around? Ten of Swords, but actually it's come upside down. Do you know, I pulled some cards for him last night. I'm sure it was Ron I was pulling cards for. Yeah, I think it was. And it came upside down last night as well. The packet is the proper way round, so it must just be in the deck it's upside down. You see, Ten of Wands is like, oh God, this is hard work. I can't do it on my own. Not quite at the point of giving up, but, you know, really, really difficult. But upside down, I feel as I want to say to him, it's easier than he thinks it is to get to the King of Cups. The King of Cups isn't Trump. The King of Cups is Biden. Biden, for me, always shows as the King of Cups, that watery energy. And Biden also has the moon beside him as well, something unseen. I'll read on that in a moment. But yeah, let me just again ask another question. Can he win the nomination? It's as though it can be, this is mentally, that, where is it? That Ten of Swords is like, this is going to be impossible. This, in his darkest moments, this is impossible. What the hell am I doing? Trump's there. He's not going to get out of the way. But I don't know, it feels as though it's a bit like the boxer in the ring. There's a way round it somehow. I mean, this is just showing a timeline that it can be easier than he thinks it's going to be. It doesn't have to be such hard work, but he can only do that if he pulls in the right people around him. He gets the right endorsements coming in, the right people that sort of stand up for him. I noticed in the news today that there is a lady, I must admit I'd never heard of her, but you know, I'm not really in the US. I think it was a American sports woman who has come out and said, I'm endorsing him. And now I can't find, of course, who it is, but people were shocked that she was doing that because they thought she would be endorsing Trump. So she feels as though she's important. It's people like that. I can't find it now. So yes, it's going to take one or two big endorsements to potentially flip the script. And of course, with Trump, there's so much going on as well with his legal battles that he hasn't got a straight run through to this at all, even if he is the most popular person at the moment to run for the Republicans. The Republicans. Okay, let me pull a few other cards. So Ron DeSantis, can he be the nominee for the Republicans for 2024? Queen of Pentacles again. Well, do you know, I really feel as though there's a female vice president. Whoever wins, there's definitely feels as though there's a woman on the team, a woman on the winning ticket, whether that's Biden, any of them, to be honest. There we have the Queen of Pentacles again. He's not the Queen of Pentacles though, is he? Let me just carry on, guys. Let's pull a few more cards. Can Ron DeSantis get the nomination for the Republican Party? Right, sorry, there's two that have just fallen out there. The Three of Cups and the World. Okay, I'm going to stick my neck out here. It's very easy when you do this type of work to say what I'm about to say, and people come back to you 3 months later and say, oh my God, you were wrong. But if you don't have a punt every now and again, what's the point of doing this work? You know, that's what I'm feeling in this moment, that there are some people, maybe in Ron's circle, that are celebrating the end of something or someone. And I feel as though it could be the end of Trump. Yes, that's a big statement. But, you know, this is the timeline that I'm reading on at the moment, that there is a celebration that a cycle has completed. The cycle for the Republican Party is that Trump will just do it again. He's going to come back in. I've not read on him recently, and I will do him in this Spotlight series. But right now I'm wondering, is that Trump? Is that why Ron's camp, because I was asking this from Ron's perspective, is this why they're celebrating? Three of Cups is a celebration. Something completed. Let's just clarify on those two, please. Clarification on what I'm seeing. Can Ron be the nomination for the Republicans in 2024? Can Ron be the nomination for the Republicans in 2024? We have the Ten of Pentacles. We've got the King of Pentacles. You see, that's interesting as well, because so far in the cards, Ron's been coming up more as the Sun. Do you remember we had these cards from another deck earlier? The Mother of Pentacles and the Son of Pentacles. That's how he was showing himself. You see, this could also imply, this World card could be the completion of a cycle in terms of maybe he's clearing some family karma. He's free to be his own man. The apron strings have been finally cut with regards to whatever has transpired within the family over the years. And he now moves from being the Sun to the King. Because it's really interesting, the Wild Unknown Tarot, in the break, I looked up the meaning of the Mother of Pentacles. This is the Queen of Pentacles. In this deck, it's got quite an interesting meaning. It says, and remember this is about his mother, it says the Mother of Pentacles excels in the home. She knows exactly what to do while raising a family and tending to the tasks of daily life. There's a potential for her identity to become wrapped entirely around her children and the home, which leaves her needy and attached. This is the cause of most of her turmoil. She often has qualities of a healer and is very connected to nature. I have never read before the Queen of Pentacles, Mother of Pentacles, in terms of her being needy and attached in any other deck. It's nothing I've ever said about the Queen of Pentacles or the Mother of Pentacles, but it's come up in Ron's reading for a reason. Maybe there was a clinginess with his mother, and it's as though this is his moment to break free and become his own man. That happens in all families as well, by the way. It doesn't mean that the mother is, has been awful or difficult or anything like that. We come of age. To be perfectly honest, I can say this because I doubt my father is ever going to watch this video, but I'm sure in my father's eyes, even though I'm 56, I'm still like the little girl. And it's like, it's very difficult sometimes to for your parents to see you as a grown woman or a grown man doing what you're meant to be doing. And the truth is, you just have to do it anyway. You have to break free of what you came from to a degree. And I believe with children, they should always be a higher version of who you are anyway. So this is also in the cards here as well. So that's a bit more, maybe not necessarily linked into, is he going to be the nominee? But definitely personally, there is the completion of a cycle. I also definitely feel a lot of happiness around his family life. It's actually quite nice to see, because sometimes when you pull cards on people, particularly when they're prominent, you can see a lot of aggro. Not that I've seen it in either of the other two candidates I've looked at so far in this series, but I'm going on other readings I've done in the past. And I'm not feeling that here. I genuinely feel Ron has quite a happy family life. He's quite content with his home life. And there's a lot of joy. There's a lot of happiness around. Do you know, I said in my last video that I was going to do this Ron DeSantis read. And I said, I'm going to have a bit of fun with it, because he strikes me, and I still feel it. And I know he has a reputation of being, or people think he's a bit boring. I don't get that. I think he could be quite a laugh. I really do. I feel like you could have a laugh with this guy. But people don't see that necessarily. It's like, oh, you're having fun with Ron. I do think so. And I keep hearing that song, do run, 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 do run, run. Hey, dee, 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 dee. To do run, 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 to do run, run. It's a very upbeat song. That feels very him. So I quite like the guy's energy, I have to say. Right, let's now see though. I think there's a timeline here where he can snatch it off Trump. But as I say, at the moment that would seem implausible. But I don't know. I'm going to actually ask, how does he feel about Donald Trump? And I'll ask about Biden as well, but, you know, let's just see. How does he feel? How does Ron DeSantis feel about Donald Trump? How does Ron DeSantis feel about Donald Trump? Get out of the way. Empress is fertility. The Fool is a new start. He just wants him out of the way. It's literally an energy of the time has come for a new start for America, because this is my America card in this deck. Don't you think she looks like the Statue of Liberty? I've always said that. Statue of Liberty, Empress. America is ready for something new. It's fertility. It's all about newness. It's like, move over, please. Move over, please. There is so much. He has to have a woman with him. Who's he running with? Because again, look at this, the Empress and the Queen of Wands. We have just got women everywhere. And I mean, maybe he is a womanizer, but I'm not feeling that. I think these are women. I think these are women that are behind him. He's got women. Put it this way, it might be the type of thing some women wouldn't want to come out and say, I really like Ron and I'm going to vote for him. And they're doing it because they're standing up for what they see are family values, but they won't necessarily come out and say it. I think this guy's polling figures are maybe lower than what they actually would be in reality. I think he's underestimated and I think he's undercounted. It's one of those things that's like, yeah, actually I quite like him, but not really wanting to own up to quite liking him. That's what I'm getting here. Okay, so let's put all of the cards back in the deck from here. So I'm working with a full pack and I'm going to ask, can he win in 2024? Assuming he becomes the nominee. Would he ever work with Donald Trump? No, not anymore, no. He's not going to be Trump's running mate or anything like that because he wants to be his own person. No way. He'll just wait. If he doesn't get the nomination this time, he'll just wait. And he'll view it a bit like the Navy SEAL that he is, still, really. as good training, very good training for the next time. It's a bit like commando type energy. It's the Rambo. It's Rocky. It's all of that. It's just like he's in training for the top job. He has been for a long time. And as I said that, look at that, the Emperor card. I've got the Tower as well on the bottom of the deck. Expect the unexpected. I mean, there is a timeline where he could do it. I just don't know, you know, I can't say with timing whether it is 2024 or the time after. I mean, it would be shocking to some people if he got in. But the Emperor is the Emperor. You see, this could be Trump's tower falling as well. Tower representing, you know, his bid, his campaign. What does the Tower represent, please? Because at the moment, Trump is the Emperor in his party. What does the Tower represent, please? 10 of Cups, family values. Could say Trump is also standing up for family values, but I've been talking about family values with regards to DeSantis. It's not out of the equation that this guy, the boxer, lands a final punch and knocks out his opponent. Whether that's Trump, whether it's Biden, assuming Biden is the candidate. DeSantis I don't think he fears Biden at all, personally. His opponent is Trump. If he can get Trump out of the equation, he's got a free road for it. Knight of Pentacles and the Hermit again. He's a slow burner. The Knight of Pentacles, that's come up before. We had the Knight of Pentacles, didn't we? Son of Pentacles. It's the same card again. He's got to see himself as the king rather than the knight. And for the knight to become the king has to relinquish his crown. At the moment, Trump is the one with the crown. Trump is the one in the driving seat. If Trump goes, this guy's there. And he's patiently waiting for that day to happen. And he's been told it will happen, the Hermit. When I say he's been told it will happen, I'm not talking about insider chatter. I mean, he's got an inner conviction. This guy believes he's going to be president. And I believe he's probably felt he's going to be president for a while. I mean, a long while, years and years and years. He's always had a conviction. He's always seen Florida as a bit of a stepping stone. Although his heart will always be in Florida, he'll always have a special place in his heart for Florida. But Virgos, you see, he's a Virgo. Virgos are very practical. They're very methodical. They cross every T and dot every I. He's methodical, this guy. He's methodical. And he doesn't mind being the knight rather than the king. Because what he does is look at him. What he does is he watches. He watches to see what the king does. He watches to see the mistakes the king makes. He capitalizes on that. And then he pounces. Did you just hear? When I said he pounces, I was like, oh, I think it was a motorbike went by. I feel he's always been underestimated. And maybe this is what it was with his mum. Maybe she underestimated him. That might be what it is. I don't know if he's got other siblings. Maybe there was another one that was brighter or better at sport or whatever, I don't know. Don't underestimate him. Okay, let's just have a look at how he views Biden, because I have asked that for the other contenders. So show me Ron's attitude to Biden, please. The Sun. You see there's children on that card of the Sun. And Ron's always is all about protecting the children, looking after the children. He passionately disagrees with the policies that Biden has in some quarters. And I can't even go further than that because I'm not into American politics. There is a red flag there. I realise what I've just said. I was actually thinking red flag in terms of Republican Party, but I actually said there's a red flag with children, with Biden. Oof, yeah. No love lost here at all. Would be very happy to see this guy's demise. Not physical death, but, you know, if you think he wants Trump out of the way, he wants Biden out of the way times 100, because he feels he is duplicitous. This is lies, manipulation. You don't know what's really going on. Who's pulling the strings? I think Ron prides himself on who I am is what you get. What I say is what you get. You might not like it, but I'm going to be completely transparent. With Biden, he just sees a veil of mirrors and lies. And he wants him gone. Really wants him gone. Okay. Yeah, because here he is again, you see. This is Ron, this is the Knight. In fact, this time he's the Page. He's just seeing lies and manipulation. Seven of Swords and Seven of Cups, not good cards there in terms of how he views Biden. Let's see how Biden views him, shall we? Probably not much higher, but let's see. Joe Biden. How does he view Ron DeSantis? Same cards came up. Oh no, actually, it's got a different meaning with Justice and the King of Wands. Oh, interesting. I feel as though he knows that Ron would like to call him out. I'm choosing my words carefully at this point. You're going to have to piece together what I'm really trying to say. He feels that, because here he is, Biden, King of Wands, I'm the king. Ron can bring justice to this. I feel as though Ron knows stuff that has been going on. I don't want to go any further on that, guys. Okay, I'm gonna leave that there. Okay. Okay. Let's just clear the energy. Yeah, look, Ace of Swords. Right, how shall we... this is Florida water, by the way, in case you think I'm drinking wine. I'm just going to put a bit of Florida water over myself, just to prove it's not a bottle of wine. Just helps clear the energy. That got a bit dark and grubby. Okay. See if anything else I can pick up, and then I'm going to leave you. So, Ron DeSantis. Is that his little logo? Is that his logo? Is that a common logo that he uses all the time? Looks like one of the, reminds me of the Star Trek, the little Star Trek logos. Yeah, 'cause I can't quite place this guy in terms of guides and galactic origin. I'm not sure. I can't place him, which is frustrating for me, but I'm just being honest. I cannot place him. That doesn't mean anything, just means I can't place him. Okay. Do you know what he reminds me of, actually? Looking at his picture now. Don't laugh, everyone, because as soon as I say people look like other people, you know, people get up in arms about it. I'm talking energy. He reminds me in this photograph of, is it Han Solo in Star Wars? Now, is it Han Solo? What's the guy called? The guy who's in his 80s now. Hold on, let me just see if I've got it right. I might have got the wrong person. Not the blonde-haired one. Oh, yeah, it is Han Solo. Yeah. This guy. Oh, for God's sake, I can't think who he's called. I've lost it, guys. It's Sunday. I'm getting tired. He reminds me of Han Solo. Now, that's got to mean something. Okay, so Han Solo, it says here, Han Solo was a smuggler, scoundrel, and hero. He was captain of the Millennium Falcon, and he was one of the great leaders of the Rebel Alliance. He and his co-pilot Chewbacca came to believe in the cause of galactic freedom, joining Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia in the fight against the Empire. Oh, God, come on, I'm seeing that for a reason then. That says it all. Han Solo is what I'm seeing in his energy field. I know, it sounds a bit bonkers, but there's definitely here something. Because, God, it's such a long time since I saw Star Wars, but I seem to remember that Han Solo at the start of the films, isn't he a bit cocky? He's a bit cocky and a bit arrogant, and he doesn't really want to do it or help. He's very human, you know, and then he gets won over, doesn't he, to the cause and the fight. And he's absolutely underestimated. Harrison Ford, of course it's Harrison Ford, for goodness sake. Harrison Ford, yeah. There's a bit of Han Solo in this guy. And he's gunning for what he sees as the darkness. Whether that in his mind is something linked into pushing an agenda, be it a woke agenda or a trans agenda or any other agenda. I'm not saying it is dark, but in his mind, you know, he's pushing back against what he sees is wrong. Maybe we'll say wrong rather than dark. He's a freedom fighter, basically. That's what he is. That is what he is. He's like Han Solo, a freedom fighter, and Rocky, all combined into one. But underneath it all, he's basically a family guy. I think he's good-hearted, actually. I think he is misunderstood. I think he's a much more formidable opponent than people make him out to be. And I think he's here to stay for a while. So, my friends, I think that is as far as I can get with him today. I am going to leave it there. And, you know, if he gets the nomination and is able to... So I'm just seeing him now like Han Solo. It's like he's on the bridge. And he's just got to get a lot of people off the bridge. And then he gets himself back into the cockpit, as it were, you know. And it could be very interesting. But I'll have a look at it. If he gets the nomination, I'll come back and read on him again. Okay, if he doesn't, I think we'll be coming back in 4 years' time and reading on him again, because I just feel as though there's an energy of sort of destiny here driving him on to see how far he can get, and he'll push it to the limit as much as he can. I wish him well, as I wish all the candidates well. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Take great care of yourself. Lots of love. The next video I do, I'm not quite sure what it will be. We might have a little break from politics, and we will, well, give me some suggestions. If the comments are on, give me some suggestions. I will definitely be looking at summer solstice, which is coming up quite soon, and various other bits. So stay tuned, guys. There's usually something interesting to watch on my channel. Love you all very much. Take care. God blessings to America, and may the best man or woman win. That is the truth of it. Bye for now. Bye.